It's Saturday morning. You didn't set an alarm. Nobody's making you set one. That's the whole miracle, actually. Coffee, the couch, maybe pants are optional. Now zoom out about 200 years. Same planet, same species. No Saturday like this exists yet. There's just work, 6 days of it, sometimes 7. Those 2 blank days on your calendar right now? Somebody had to build those, on purpose. Against resistance, actual resistance. Not a king, not a calendar reform. Real people, arguing, striking. Occasionally getting arrested for it. So who exactly won you Saturday? And why did it take so long? This isn't people used to work hard, must have been rough. This is a fight, with names in it. Dates, riots, a car company. Not one invention. Not one hero. More like 4 separate groups. Each wanting the same 2 days off. For 4 completely different reasons. Religion wanted one of those days first. Factories fought the other one the whole way. And the ending genuinely surprised me. Let's start with why you didn't already have a day off. Rest days are ancient. The 2-day weekend is not. The Jewish Sabbath goes back thousands of years. Sundown Friday to sundown Saturday, 1 day, no exceptions. Christians took Sunday. Muslims marked Friday prayers. All 3 of those are old. All 3 are just 1 day. Now walk into a factory in the early 1800s. 10 to 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. Sometimes worse. Children included. Sundays were the only guaranteed break, and even that wasn't universal. There was no weekend word yet. There was barely a weekend concept. There was just Sunday. And then Monday came for you again. Here's where it gets interesting. Workers didn't wait for permission. Long before anyone legislated a day off, they just started taking one. It's called Saint Monday. It is not a real saint. Payday was Saturday. Sunday was church. Monday, conveniently, was recovery. Workers just didn't show up. For centuries. Employers hated it and could barely stop it. Meanwhile, a Welsh mill owner named Robert Owen had a bigger idea. 1817, he coined a slogan. 8 hours labor, 8 hours recreation, 8 hours rest. Split the day into thirds, radical for the time. Nobody listened, not for decades. Zoom out for a second. The 2 days you get every single week weren't handed down by a calendar. They were assembled, piece by piece, out of a guy dodging Monday and a slogan nobody funded. That's the actual origin story. Not clean, not planned. Before we go further, one thing to separate. A weekly day of rest is thousands of years old. Real, ancient, religious. The 2-day weekend, Saturday and Sunday off, for almost everybody. That's barely a century old. Don't let one borrow the other's age. They're different inventions. The second one is the one that had to be fought for. In public, on the record. Employers hated losing St. Monday's free labor even more than they admitted. So in Britain, they tried a trade. Give up Monday, get Saturday afternoon instead. Officially. Saturday half-day spread through the 1850s. Britain's Factory Act made it closer to law by 1867. By the 1870s, St. Monday was basically dead, killed by its own legal cousin. And that half-day created something new. A 2-part break, Saturday afternoon, then Sunday. 1879, a British magazine called Notes and Queries wrote it down for the first time. A worker leaving Saturday afternoon to visit friends was spending his weekend. One word, hyphenated, brand new. It didn't mean the modern weekend yet. Just Saturday afternoon plus Sunday. But the word existed before the full 2 days did. Language got there first. While Britain was easing into half-days, America was not being polite about it. By the 1880s, unions across the US wanted the 8-hour day. Now, not eventually. May 1st, 1886, a general strike, centered in Chicago. Days later, a rally at Haymarket Square. Police moved in. Someone threw a bomb. 7 officers died. The trial that followed was rushed, political. It ended in executions. It should have buried the 8-hour movement. It didn't. 3 years later, international labor groups picked May 1st as a permanent day of protest. You may know it as May Day. This is why it's in May. A bombing in Chicago is why over half the planet gets a labor holiday. So who actually invented the modern 2-day weekend? Here's the honest answer: nobody alone. 1908. A cotton mill in New England. Its Jewish workforce couldn't work Saturdays. Sabbath, non-negotiable. The obvious fix: give Jewish workers Saturday off. But then the factory floor was half empty on Saturdays anyway. So management just closed the whole mill on Saturday. For everyone. Which left Sunday, already closed, for the Christian workers. Do the math. 2 consecutive days off, by accident. Out of a scheduling headache. One catch, reportedly. Management still expected 6 days of output, squeezed into 5. Progress with an asterisk. History loves an asterisk. 18 years later, a much bigger company made it official. On purpose. 1926. Henry Ford announces a 5-day, 40-hour week. Saturday and Sunday off. Ford's own words: leisure for workmen isn't lost time or a privilege. Sounds noble. Here's the other half of that quote, roughly. Workers with free time buy more cars. Ford wasn't just being kind. He was inventing customers. Rested workers make fewer mistakes on the line too. Productivity, not charity, closed the deal. Other companies watched Ford's factories keep running fine on 5 days. Monday to Friday started becoming the norm nationwide. Slowly, company by company. None of this was law yet. It was just what a few employers chose to do. That changed in 1938. Roosevelt signed the Fair Labor Standards Act, a 44-hour work week, stepping down to 40 by 1940. Minimum wage, 25 cents an hour. Overtime pay, for the first time, federally guaranteed. 700,000 workers got an immediate raise. Here's the part that doesn't make it into the feel-good version. To get the bill passed, Congress carved out 2 groups: farm workers and domestic workers. Both disproportionately black in 1938 America. Excluded on purpose, to secure votes. Domestic workers didn't get folded back into the law until 1974. So the 40-hour week became federal law for some Americans in 1938, and for others decades later. The weekend's founding document has an asterisk too. Put the whole timeline together and something jumps out. St. Monday, 17th century. Robert Owen's slogan, 1817. The word weekend, 1879. Federal law locking in the 40-hour week, 1938. That's over 300 years. For something that now feels like it was always just Tuesday. It wasn't obvious. It wasn't inevitable. It wasn't fast. And it definitely wasn't finished in 1938 either. China didn't get an official 2-day weekend until 1995. 1995. Before that, 1 day off. Period, for most of the 20th century. Even now, the fight isn't done anywhere. China's tech industry has its own nickname for the opposite of a weekend. 996. 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 6 days a week. A top court there ruled it illegal in 2021. It is still extremely common. Enforcement is the hard part, not the ruling. Gig workers, delivery drivers, migrant labor. Plenty of modern jobs quietly skip the weekend entirely. The 2 days off were never a law of nature. They're a policy. Policies can be walked back. So, who invented the weekend? A Welsh mill owner with a slogan nobody funded. Workers illegally no-showing on Mondays for 200 years. A rushed, bloody trial in Chicago that backfired on the people who wanted it to end labor organizing. A New England mill solving a scheduling headache by accident. A car company inventing customers, not kindness. A Congress trading away 2 groups of workers to pass the rest of the bill. And a country on the other side of the planet not catching up until 1995. Nobody invented the weekend. Everybody had to individually agree to stop taking it away. And even now, that agreement isn't permanent. It's just currently winning. It's Saturday morning again. No alarm. Somewhere behind that quiet couch is a bombing, a slogan, a rabbi's schedule, and a car salesman. Enjoy it. It's rented, not owned. Someone, somewhere is still fighting to get theirs back.